Seventh inning stretch time, and we're going to spend this inning talking some MMA with the #1 pound-for-pound female MMA fighter in the world. Current UFC's women's champion, one and only Ronda Rousey, joins us now in the Wheelhouse. How you doing, champ?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. Good to have you on the program. And, you know, I remember Dana White once said he had no interest in signing women to the UFC. Now you're the first female he signed and the first female champion. What does that mean to you?
It means that Dana is a very intelligent businessman, and he's also impressed me as just being a really good person. It's not everybody who will say one day that something is never going to happen and then become convinced otherwise and then publicly say, hey, I was wrong about that, I changed my mind. A lot of people, even though they have changed their mind, won't take any action because they don't want to admit that they are wrong at any point. And Dana really impressed me by admitting, like, hey, you know what, I was wrong about this, we're going to do it this way, and we're going to go all out.
Well, you've certainly taken this sport, not only the UFC, by storm. You're undefeated, 7-0. All of your victories have come in the first round with that armbar submission. How'd you become so proficient at the armbar?
Well, my mom was the first American to ever win the World Championships in Judo back in 1984. And she actually tore her knees out when she was around 17, so she became mostly a ground-based fighter, which is really uncommon in Judo. So arm bars were her best technique, and when I started doing Judo at 11, she just drilled it into me all the time. And while a lot of other kids were learning how to ride bikes and cook pancakes and things like that, in my house we did arm bars.
Wow. How was those sparring sessions with you and Mom? Who won them?
Well, you know, when I first got started, she wasn't never really trying to beat me up. She wanted me to learn, and then I found out that years after it happened that when my mom stopped sparring with me at one point, I didn't know why, and I guess it turned out that me and her were rolling around one day, and I threw her, and she like broke her hand or something like that. And she was so tough, she never even let me know. She never even said ouch.
Wow.
So that's when we stopped. But she's tiny. Like, my mom was like 5'2", and she fought at like, you know, she's probably like 115 pounds soaking wet. So, and I'm a little bit bigger.
Well, you know, usually MMA fighters are wrestlers, and they learn how to kick, they learn how to strike. But as you pointed out, I mean, you're a former judo champion, former Olympian. How has the martial arts background helped you in this sport?
Well, I think the judo background is actually one of the best bases to start MMA from, mostly because a lot of the other martial arts, they leave everything separate. Like jiu-jitsu is just on the ground, and wrestling is just pretty much the takedowns and positioning, and Muay Thai and boxing and kickboxing, they're all just the striking. And judo is one of the only martial arts that deals not just with the takedowns, but also straight into the submissions. And so the transition from standing to ground is much better in judo players, and also the posture that you have in judo, you have upper body gripping and stuff like that. So a lot of times when wrestlers, you could tell if they're going to come in for a takedown or if they're going to strike, because they change levels, and they go for their legs a lot when they try to take down. Whereas if you have a judo background, you never change levels. You're always the same good posture, so you never know if I'm coming in to strike or if I'm coming in for a clinch. So it's a lot trickier.
Time for a little something we call here Bringing the Heat. I'm asking you a series of questions, Ronda. I want the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready?
All right.
Here we go. Who is more important to their male-dominated sport? Is it Danica Patrick or is it Ronda Rousey?
Ooh. Well, I think that Danica is very important to the success of NASCAR. I think that without her, it would be pretty much a lot more boring. I think she's the most entertaining racer out there. But I think that me and women fighters in MMA is a lot more important to getting acceptance and kind of getting rid of all those stereotypes that people have about, you know, MMA is just a bunch of guys brawling and stuff like that. So things like trying to get MMA legalized and regulated in New York, I think that women fighters are much more valuable. So I think we're equally valuable for our sports, both in different ways.
All right. Well, give me the one male UFC fighter you would love to get into the octagon with.
Ooh, I'd love to beat up Brian Caraway, which is the boyfriend of Miesha Tate, the girl that I fought originally for my first title, because he's just one of those guys that it's like her pet boyfriend. And he's trying to, like, no one would know who he was if it wasn't for his girlfriend. And I don't know, he's just got one of those punch me faces. And I've never heard a single intelligent thing come out of either of their mouths. Well, actually, you know what? I've heard a lot more intelligent things come out of Miesha's mouth than him. I think that if she got rid of him, she would be a lot more likable herself.
All right, so how about this then? You're former Olympian, two-time Olympian. Besides judo, what was your favorite Olympic sport to watch? Was it basketball or swimming?
Basketball or swimming, those are my only two options.
Yeah, or what? Give me another one.
I like boxing.
Boxing? You enjoyed the boxing?
Boxing's cool.
And lastly, who plays you in the Ronda Rousey movie?
I don't know, but I hear people say I look like Julia Stiles all the time, so maybe Julia Stiles.
How about that? Ronda Rousey, she is, of course, the female UFC champion. Champ, we appreciate the time. Best of luck in your next upcoming fight.